This is Rob Tebbutt for Boxing Social. Delighted to be joined here today by unbeaten cruiserweight prospect Viddal Riley. We're here at the West Ham Boxing Club in London. How you doing, Viddal?
Am I holding it or are you holding it?
Oh.
I'm good, man. It's been a busy year, but I'm mostly focusing on preparing for my next fight now, which is on May the 3rd in Dubai. So yeah, getting excited for that one.
Now we'll come on to that. We'll come on to your fight as we progress throughout the interview. Obviously, I want to have a little bit of a chat and kind of introduce you to Boxing Social viewers today. First and foremost, I've never been to Dubai. Have you been to Dubai before?
Never been to Dubai, so it's going to be a new experience. A lot of people go there for a vacation. I'm going there to hurt someone, but hopefully we have a few days afterwards to just chill out, and have some fun over there.
You have to let me know how it is. But as I said, I'd just like to kind of introduce you to the world. I mean, you're somebody who's got a very big profile for somebody who's 2-0 from kind of your experiences inside boxing, but kind of away from boxing. Yeah, been a bit of a different start. But go back to the start. Tell me about kind of your early years, really. Where are you from, and kind of what led you to boxing, really?
Oh, I started boxing when I was 6 years old, so at a very young age. But a lot of the great fighters start very young, so hoping that we can have something in common there. I had your traditional journey, went to the nationals, won national titles, a few GB titles, boxed for England countless times, captained England on certain tournaments as well, medalled at the European Games as a junior, represented Team GB at the Youth Olympics in 2014, the World Championships in 2014. So I've literally been to, every competition as an amateur, apart from the senior Olympics and World Championships, really. And yeah, that was my traditional early path, you could say. So I was doing what you'd expect everyone to do, and then I bumped into a few YouTubers along the way. KSI being the main one, who people know me to train, and helped him along his journey of getting into boxing, which is where things began to take a new direction because of exposure and popularity. And yeah, we all know that once you have that in this day and age, you can pretty much do anything. So that's kind of where the turn began. Yeah.
I will come on to that as we carry on talking. But you started boxing at 6. Why was that? What was the reason for you going through the gym for the first time?
No, my dad used to box. So because my dad used to box, he was like, you know what, try it out. And to be fair, like if I wasn't good at it, he wouldn't have forced me to do it. It's just one of those things where I tried it and he was like, it's actually decent. I used to do it, and not bad. So keep at it and see what we can do. And it seems to have been the right decision thus far. So can't complain.
You had some success. You just listed off kind of your achievements as an amateur. Was the plan always to go professional? Was it always to kind of go and achieve what you achieved as an amateur and then turn over and do it full time?
Well, that's the thing. When I wanted to box, I used to watch pro boxing when I was a kid. So my dad was like, if you want to get to pro boxing, you're going to have to do this amateur stuff first. You have to wear a head guard and a vest. And I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to do what they're doing. I want to be in the arena, pro. And my dad was like, yeah, there's a journey to get there. So I was like, oh, okay, what is it? So then that's when I went through my whole amateur career. But I never really wanted to be an amateur. I never ever thought about boxing and thought amateur boxing. I always just thought about being a pro. So I guess now I'm finally here. It's been a lot of years. It's been about 15 years later, but we're finally at the bit I've always wanted to do. So exciting times, definitely.
You said you used to watch fighters growing up. What fighters did you watch?
I watch Roy Jones Jr. a lot. He's probably my favourite fighter. Watch Floyd Mayweather a lot as well when he was at his younger age, obviously growing up watching him. Klitschko's I watched a lot. Lennox Lewis. There's quite a few fighters, but if you think about early 2000s, he was really popular. Shane Mosley, Zab Judah, Winky Wright, Bernard Hopkins, De La Hoya, a lot of the people, big fighters from the early 2000s, I would remember because when I was getting into boxing, I was like watching those fights. So, yeah.
You take little bits and pieces from everyone you watch, so you just try and kind of do your own thing. I know it's not sort of customary to try and emulate somebody, but inevitably when you watch a load of fighters, it kind of can happen.
Yeah, I think you develop habits from watching certain fighters, and there are fighters that you look to for certain skills and attributes, but you always have to realize you're not them. So something they could do is because that's their ability. So you got to kind of adapt it and kind of readjust it for yourself. But yeah, some of the core things that I do are definitely, you can tell I've taken from some of my favorite fighters. Definitely, yeah.
So let's talk about KSI. I'm not massively familiar with KSI. I'm not much of a YouTuber, despite doing a lot of my work on YouTube, which is quite ironic.
Yeah.
How did you guys meet? How did you guys come together? Obviously, you train him. You're a very young man yourself. So you're very young in your professional career, yeah.
Trainer, yeah. I trained a lot of his friends for about a year and a half before I met him. So when he decided to have a boxing match, it was like kind of worked hand in hand. That I would train him, because I trained a lot of his friends. They were like, yeah, but my trainer, like my PT, he's a boxer as well. Like, he's getting me fit, but he's a boxer. So he was like, oh, come down, I'll do a few sessions with him to see how you find it. And then we done a couple sessions. He enjoyed it, and then he stuck about ever since. And then I've helped him in his 2 fights that he's had. And by training him, I got a lot of the, I'd say the drips and drabs of the fame that he has, which is mega. So taking the drips and drabs turns out to be a lot. So that's pretty much how I started training him, and then we just built a connection since then, and been through a few things together, and that always makes a partnership stronger. So yeah, we're at a good point, and it started off as me just being his coach, but now I consider him, a brother, a good friend to me. So that's good.
How's it changed your life? I mean, you're topping a bill in Dubai and Badou Jack Promotions. You've signed with Mayweather's. You're trained by Jeff Mayweather. Yeah. That all come off the back of that, or was that kind of the plan anyway? I know you went over to Las Vegas with KSI, which is kind of how that sort of happened. I mean, how much did that change your life?
Well, I was kind of on a journey. I was kind of on a journey to go to the Olympics, and there was a few people ahead of me at the time that would go to the Olympics, but I didn't think it was unachievable for me. I thought it's something I could still do. So that was the plan, that was the plan, which was to go to the Olympics. Going to Vegas with KSI was just a vacation. It was just an opportunity for me to go to Vegas. He said, do you want to come? I was like, no, not really, it's really tight on money right now and everything. He was like, listen, come, I'll sort it out for you, come down. I was like, oh, all right, cool, I'll come. So I got on a plane there, brought a few training bits with me, just in case I did want to do a bit of training. And, we went to the boxing gym. I said I want to spar. I actually asked to spar Badou, which is the funny thing about it. And my now manager, Amir Abdullah, was like, you can't spar him, he's a world champion. I was like, I don't care. Like, I'll spar him anyway, I don't care. And he was like, nah, maybe another day. I was like, all right. But then he got me someone else to spar, and I've done really well against them. And then I sparred Andrew Tebbutt. He's in the Super Series right now, semi-final. And I had a good spar with him also. He was very helpful, and he's been very supportive in terms of speaking well about me and highly about me since that spar has happened. So after that spar, Jeff was like, you know what, this guy's like one of the best we have. He's the best cruiserweight. He's the best American cruiserweight. So he was like, this is the best guy we have to offer. You've come here as an amateur and shown that, you can mix it in there with him. You got potential. And pretty much that's where all the boring stuff, the contracts and all that stuff was sorted out. And then the decision to turn pro was decided then.
What was it like going into the Mayweather Gym? I've spoken to people who have trained there, sparred there, spent camps there. People kind of have different sort of experiences from going there. What was yours like walking for the first time? I mean, obviously it was quite different to what actually ended up happening. Yeah. But what was the whole experience like? I mean, before the first spars.
Well, walking in there, the gym was shut, so there was no one in there. It was just Badou Jack, his team, and KSI and his team. So we didn't get no atmosphere apart from, well, okay, we're actually in the Mayweather Gym and it's shut just for us. The gym's not even open. So we didn't get that buzz or that experience initially. But then we was only there like an hour before the general public were allowed to come in. So as our session was finishing, the public come in, and then you're like, okay, it's getting really busy now. You know, everyone comes in as a tourist type attraction. It's not just the gym. You know, a lot of people come in just to say they've been there, take pictures, and hang around, and just be like, I'm in the gym where Mayweather trains. So I don't know. I've never been a person that gets really starstruck over things. That's the truth. I kind of just take things for what it is. It's a boxing gym, you know. Obviously he's a legend in his own right and he trains there, but it doesn't give me goosebumps or anything, which is probably why I performed well, because it's just a ring, it's a gym, he's got his name everywhere. That's cool. Literally, that's how I feel.
That's a good way to be. I mean, obviously, as you make a really good point. Not having that kind of awestruck, starstruck feeling has obviously helped you perform against Andrew Tabbutt. Andrew Tabbutt is a great fighter, very, very technical, very slick. What's Jeff Mayweather like? I mean, a lot of people don't. He's kind of, I think it's fair to say, I think from his own admission, he's probably one of the lesser known Mayweathers. We've obviously got Roger, Floyd Senior, and Floyd Junior. Away from him interviewing on the Mayweather Boxing channel, not an awful lot of people know that much about him. What's it like working with Jeff? He is a very astute boxing brain.
Yeah. No, the thing with Jeff is, in a boxing trainer, he's got what you need, which is knowledge, experience. He's been in there with great fighters. I'm sure he sparred great fighters. He's been around his brothers and his nephew from the beginning of Floyd Jr.'s career, Roger's career, you know, and even Floyd Senior. So being around that, having that much knowledge to just feed off, is always going to be a positive thing. Even if his last name was, I don't know, Jack or whatever. Someone that has that much boxing knowledge is the main thing I look out for. It wasn't really for me like, oh, it's a Mayweather, it's going to be the best decision to make because of his last name. It was like, this man's been around, he's seen it, he's done it, and his training methods work pretty well with my style because he doesn't try to change me too much. He just adds little bits and pieces. He's a defensive coach as well, and I'm quite a defensive fighter. So I guess if I fought like Tyson and Jeff was my trainer, it wouldn't work. But the fact that I'm kind of defense first, he's defense first, you know, he kind of works hand in hand with me. So it's been a great experience. He's laid back, I'm laid back. You know, we literally joke around and chill. But we know when it's time to fight and what needs to be done. He hasn't had to do much coaching in the corner as of yet because my fights have been too short. But my next fight, we'll test him out in the corner and see what he tells me in between rounds.
Let's talk about your professional debut. You actually debuted in Mexico.
Yeah.
What was that like? Because again, I've spoken to people who have made their debuts in Mexico, and it's very much different than speaking to somebody who makes a debut at York Hall. What was your experience like?
Mexico is one of those places where a lot of American fighters do go to build their record. It's not really common that a UK fighter would debut in Mexico. Obviously, having the management team that I'd have allowed me to take more of an American path. It's the area that I was fighting in is not the best. You know, we was told to stick on the main road and don't go left or right because once you go a bit further down into the city, they probably just kidnap you and hold you for ransom. So that was an experience. You know, my opponent wasn't the best. And I'm honest, I can say that. You know, he stepped in last minute. We turned up at the weigh-in, and I was supposed to fight a certain guy. He looked at me and was like, I'm not fighting him. And then the promoter said to the other Mexican guy, well, I'll pay you this much. Hop in, you know. And he did. So it wasn't what we was planning for, but that was the first fight. And I guess that got the ball rolling. So that's how it works. That's how life goes sometimes.
Second fight was slightly different. It was on the Manny Pacquiao Adrian Broner undercard.
Yeah.
I think you can appreciate you weren't chief support in that,
No.
but boxing even on that bill in Vegas, what was that like?
Well, it's a big deal, you know, to be 2 fights in, fight at the MGM Grand. Even if I retired tomorrow, I could say I fought at a venue where legends have fought continuously, years and years and years. You know, I've boxed in the ring. the same ring that Manny Pacquiao was boxing, Adrian Broner's boxing, Badou Jack's boxing. Everyone on that show, you know, so it was a really big deal. There was maybe 6 people in the crowd, but it just made me realize from Mexico to there in one fight, you know, my career is progressing and things are moving up, things are going forward, and it pays to have a good team around me because of my team, I got the opportunity. So yeah, and then I knocked the guy out in like 33 seconds, which is ideal. Every boxer does wish that happens. Don't let them tell you I like the 12 rounds, because they don't. And if I could knock everyone out in 30 seconds, I would. And I did on that night. And yeah, we went home. No scratches, no bruises. MGM Grand, Pacquiao undercard. Ideal night.
You don't strike me as somebody, obviously it's the first time we met, but even though you don't strike me as somebody who would be nervous or overawed by any experience, really. Were there a few butterflies boxing at the MGM?
No, not at all. I just wanted to fight. And it's all about what I can do and my abilities. There's going to be fights one day when I have the guy across the ring. And I know he's dangerous, and I know he's going to be, you know, the man, and I'm going to have to challenge him for a world title or whatever, and I'm going to have to defeat him. And at that point, you get that buzz where you're like, okay, I'm here, you know, this is where I have to show up. And I feel like this with my next fight. My next fight, the guy's got 13 fights, he's got 12 wins, 12 knockouts, so it all looks great, you know. And then people will think, oh, this YouTube guy, you know, training KSI, can he beat someone like this? And we'll just show what I've been doing since 6 years old, not what I've been doing since last year. I think a lot of people get the blur the lines between me training a friend that's famous and the fact that before I could tie my shoelaces, I could jab. So we'll see.
I was going to come on to that. I think that's an interesting point. Do you find it, again, knowing you from this very short space of time, I wouldn't imagine it would, but does it frustrate you a little bit that people kind of, you are more well known for training a YouTuber than you are for, so again, you put it in for 15 years.
Yeah. It doesn't frustrate me the fact that they know me for that as opposed to boxing. It frustrates me when they devalue my boxing skill. You know, being known for training KSI is not a negative thing. It's a positive thing, and it's only helped my life progress. It's just when the doubt lingers over if I can actually box, which is the frustrating bit, because there's evidence to prove that I've achieved things that tons of amateur boxers can't. Because when you think about it, if I'm winning the tournaments and the championships, everyone else in my weight didn't. So if you look at it like that, I've been doing this at a good level for a long time. So if people think me training a YouTuber automatically makes my boxing worse, that's a little frustrating. But apart from that, no, it's cool. It's pretty chill.
Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I haven't watched KSI Box.
Yeah.
A lot of people in the boxing community, I'm not one of them, but a lot of people kind of looked at it as, there's this thing with boxing where it's bad for boxing, it brings negative this and negative that. You're somebody who's been brought up in the sport since you were 6 years old. Yeah. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like it's a very aged way of thinking, a very past timers way of thinking. Boxing's a very traditional sport. We don't really like things being tampered with and changed, and you know, we like to stick into our lane and stay in our lane, which is cool, which has made the sport one of the most historic sports, classical sports, and to this day still very popular. But there's a point where things change, you know, networks change, how you can view fights have changed, you know, different platforms. So if we're trying to keep this sport popular and in the public eye, it might not all be on ITV anymore. Boxing was all on ITV before. Sky Sports came through. It's all on Sky, and then now it's online. I don't have to watch Sky. I can stream the fight if I want. I can go online and find a little website and get fights. So if these YouTube guys are big in that world of the internet, which is where everyone does everything, even if you want to take the bus, you don't ever back out a planner or look. Okay, excuse me. You literally go on your phone. Okay, I'm gonna get from here to here using the internet. So if boxing and KSI and people like that are holding events on the internet, I don't understand how that's a bad thing. Exposing our sport, it only brings positivity, and it's only brought positivity to me, and I'm sure that a lot of fighters out there have been inspired, even if they admit it or not, to take YouTube more seriously, because I have. So yeah.
How good is KSI as a boxer? Again, I've not watched it. Forgive my ignorance. I think I was actually at a show on the night of the second one, or I can't remember. I think I was at the Copper Box. That was at the Copper Box, and I was at a different show. How good is KSI?
Well, you got to think of it like this. Boxing is a sport that's very tedious, very repetitive, and it's so simple, but it takes a lot of years and dedication to actually become good at it and to nail the basics down. And for someone that boxed for 12 months, I would say he's a good boxer for the amount of time he's been doing it. He learned a lot of things that I taught him. He applied them in the fights. He went through training camp just like any other boxer goes through training camp. And I would say like he is a beginner. He's a beginner, but he's a beginner that sold out 2 arenas, made tons of money, had his own pay-per-view show, press conferences worldwide. So for a beginner boxer, I'd say he's doing all right.
I'd agree. Yeah. Again, it's not me trying to kind of be ignorant to it. Just being perfectly honest, just hadn't seen him. I know he's done the circuit, as it were. I know he's gone to spar people that I know in gyms that I go to all the time. So I think anybody who gets in the ring, no matter what their motivation, should be afforded a certain level of respect. And I think it's obviously silly to kind of assume or for people to think that he is going to be at a level that he's obviously not.
It's a lot of people make the mistake that he's supposed to be great because he is fighting on a big stage. He's not fighting on a big stage due to his boxing skill. He's fighting on a big stage due to the work he put in as a YouTuber to become the biggest in the UK. And that is why he's being rewarded and ahead of so many people. It's because his graft and his grind went into becoming a big YouTuber. And once you built that platform, you can do anything. So people shouldn't be expecting the world of him as a boxer, more so appreciating the fact that you can have numbers, and once you have numbers, you can do anything, and he's proven that. So
let's talk about yourself. The cruiserweight division, of which you're a part of, is one of the best divisions domestically in the UK. You've got your Lawrence Okolis, Isaac Chamberlain, Crispin Smith, Waddy Camacho obviously just lost to Lawrence Okolis. There's an awful lot. I could go on and on and on. Where do you see yourself in that? I mean, you've taken yourself away. We've been taken away by kind of events. Yeah. Are you looking to mix it in the cruiserweight domestic scene in the next 12, 18 months? Is that kind of your career path? Or are you going to be taking that American route, which you kind of alluded to earlier?
Oh, yeah, I'll be super honest with you. I'm not sure as of yet. I'm focusing on May 3rd and getting my next opponent out of the way, who is a step up. Once he's out of the way, then I guess we can reevaluate where we're going to go from there. I don't feel like I couldn't mix it in the British scene right now. But a lot of the British scene are a lot older than me also. You know, you got, I think Lawrence is like 26. You got Richard, 29. Waddy's like 30 odd. So these guys are all in a race of time as well as fights and competition. Whereas I have time on my side. I'm fortunate enough to be in that position. So I guess as a 21-year-old, I can chill and learn my trade, perfect what I need to perfect, continue growing. And if I do mix it with them, I can mix it at them in a time where I'm ready, maybe a bit more mature, learn a bit more, had a few more camps with Jeff, had a few more great sparring sessions out in America, wherever, and then we can come back. But there is actually no need for me to rush whatsoever. Like there is no reason. So mix it with them, maybe down the line. Right now, we're just focusing on our path.
Again, this seems like a very silly question because you do seem very level-headed and very grounded. But with kind of the support that you've gathered through your kind of outside the ring in a way, but also still linked to boxing with your KSIs, etc., are you having to kind of manage your expectations or manage other people's expectations of you because you have this big following, but you are still so young and still so early in your career?
I try not to think about it. To be fair, I really like social media and all that stuff puts pressure. And people make a living off it. I'm one of them. However, I don't let it consume me. I feel it's very easy, the world we live in, to let everything around you consume you apart from what you're actually doing. I feel like we live in a day and age where I could tell you about someone else's life before I could tell you about mine. because that's just how the world's set up. We open our phone, someone else is on there, you know, worrying about other things. And with that, expectations, when you get popular, you look at your phone, you see yourself on your own explore page or your own feed, and people tweeting about you and talking about you. Most of the time, I actually don't know. I have all my notifications off anyway. I don't follow anyone. I follow about 30 people on Instagram and 10 people on Twitter. I don't really worry about it. My dad would tell me, "Oh, I've been reading it," and I'm like, cool. But I've always been like this. It sometimes worked against me, and sometimes it's worked in my favor. But I've always just been kind of like in my own bubble, and I feel like that helps me deal with the popularity and minor level of fame that I've achieved so far.
Just final one. Mexico, Vegas, Dubai.
Yeah.
Any part of you that wants to box over here, or is it just kind of as and when?
Listen, if I could box over here now, I would. I want to box here because we know it's going to be big. We know it's going to be big. I think York would sell out ASAP if I was boxing over here. The amount of support and fans I have over here, if they found out I was boxing in the UK, I think I would sell out. I could maybe even do copper box. It's literally that intense, and it might not be your usual guys that trot into the arena. It will be teenagers with their parents, but ticket sales are ticket sales, and the demographic doesn't matter at all. It's people are there to support, and hopefully, you know, down the line in my career, the usual boxing fans that we're used to seeing will join with the kids and their parents, and then we got a big problem. Well, it's not a problem, but we got a big market that we're gonna hopefully I'll be the first person to do that and make that crossover. So yeah, exciting, very, very exciting.
It is very exciting, and I think I'm not quite sure what I expected from this interview. I must say, but you're very, very measured, and it's quite refreshing. Even you get boxers who have got no followers, who have got their head in the clouds a little bit, naming any names, obviously, but you know that can happen. You don't appear to be that, which is great. Okay, well, Viddal Riley, thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. It's been very revealing.
Listen, thank you very much.
I look forward to following your career starting May the 3rd in Dubai.
May 3rd in Dubai is my next fight. It's going to be on Fight TV. You can stream it. When's this coming out?
It's going to be out today.
Okay, it's going to be out today. So there's a link right now, 30% off to stream it for $6.99. It's in dollars. And that's going to be a live stream. There's going to be plenty of fights on the show. As you know, it's Baddy Jack's first promotional show. I'm going to be headlining. It's going to be exciting. It's my first competitive fight. So, or supposed to be. Who knows what's going to happen. But yeah, love the support. Follow me on Instagram. Is it real? ISITRIL. Same for Twitter. And yeah, and my YouTube channel, Viddal Riley.
I'll let you off plugging another YouTube channel of mine. Viddal Riley, thanks very much for speaking.
Boxers don't plug their YouTube channels, but now you got, you know, my YouTube channel gets plugged as much as everything else. So I'm sorry, bro, it had to happen. Sorry.
We'll let you off because you're very nice. Thanks very much for speaking to Boxing Social. Look forward to following your career. Best of luck in the future.
Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate it. Thank you.
That was great.